I can't stand when bosses want you to take your job as seriously as them, knowing you get paid practically nothing in comparison. I'm not saying to do your job poorly, not show up or whatever. I'm simply saying bosses who make their job their life, and thus want you to do the same. It's bullshit. I get paid hardly anything by the hour. I'm living paycheck to paycheck, paying off my bills and have to live with my parents till I can accumulate enough money to get out on my own. I needed something as I moved down to a new state. COVID made getting a job hard and I took what I could get. My job doesn't even give benefits. Yet my boss, who owns the company, lives in a 4,000 square home and drives a nice car, thinks that I should take my job just as seriously. And not just me. He wonders why everyone goes home on the dot as soon as their shift ends and why we don't stay longer or come in earlier. It infuriates me in a sense. If I owned a company and was making bank, I wouldn't expect my young employees making minimum wage receiving zero benefits to take the job as seriously. I wouldn't want them not showing up or being reckless on the job, no do. But I wouldn't expect them to be overachievers going out of their way. I just wouldn't. You only get that when you give people good salaries and benefits, and even employees who get that won't go over and beyond. I show up on time. I do my job the best I can. Then I go home. If I have to stay a little bit later because I'm in the middle of something, yes, I'll do that. But I'm not gonna go over and beyond for minimum wage and no health care. Sorry, not sorry. To me, minimum wage jobs are the types you take what you can learn from, then ditch and find something more suitable. I think if you were making practically nothing and burning yourself out while your boss or the owner is making all the profits, you may as well wear a kick me sign on your back or a red clone nose. I'm salary, and it was hinted at that I'm expected to work 50 hours a week while getting paid for 40. I work my 8 and go home. I'm not working for free. Granted, there are some emergencies that require me to work more than 40, but that's few and far between. But there are some that do and do more than That's when you say, I don't pick up on hints. I need them in writing. I too am salary, then work my 8 and hit the gate. Now, if an emergency or extenuating circumstance comes up, yes, sir, boss, I'll handle it. No questions, no complaints. I do not get paid any more for it. No problem. That is the job problem, is that if I am continually getting an extenuating circumstance, then it is not extenuating anymore. I take action to stop the problem before it becomes a problem that I have to respond to, or if this becomes expected, then I start looking for somewhere else to work. I mean, there's no such thing as being paid for 40 hours a week as salaried. You get paid what you get paid, and you have to determine what amount of time that's worth to you. I'm perfectly willing to work 60 hours because I like what I do, and I am paid commensurate with that. If they paid me less, I probably wouldn't be as willing. At my old claims adjuster job, we were given a clock in system and told that we only needed to work 8-5, including a mandatory 1-hour lunch break that most people just worked through. But it was strongly encouraged to treat it as more of a guideline. It was supposed to be a 40-hour work week for an almost competitive salary. Instead, I and most people I knew there were working 50-60 hours a week. Not only that, but for each of us, our work was piled up so high that we did all that and were still mostly buried in claims so high we couldn't see straight. You were selling your time. Getting paid salary is simply selling your time in bulk. You can only throw in so much to sweeten the deal before you are being taken for a ride. Only a chump opens a one-person all-you-can-eat buffet. Salary doesn't mean 40 hours a week unless that's written in your contract. Unless you have fixed hours, you have to stay until the work is done. It is bullshit, but you don't have the right to leave at 5 unless you're on a schedule. It is totally bullshit. I quit my last job because my boss, also owner, was like this. I was looking for the new job for 6 months, and as soon as I got the job offer, put in my 2 weeks. Fuck that attitude. He even told me I should be grateful for the opportunity. They always think you should be grateful. I requested to have an extra day off during the week because I get no benefits, and the job is very stressful. It's my first time working in healthcare, and it was taking a toll on me. My boss tried to tell me that in the state of Florida, it's going to be hard to find a full-time job in my position with benefits, or something he was saying to manipulate me. I told my boyfriend, who immediately went, "That is complete bullshit. Who the fuck says something like that? If that's the case, then I guess no one doing admin work in Florida has health care." Is that what he's implying? What a dick. It was a very weird comment for a boss to make. So, apparently I'm not gonna find another admin job that will give benefits. I still don't get why he said that. I'm also looking for other jobs as we speak. Healthcare is not my thing. And I realized it. Had same issue with my previous boss. He was the owner as well. That idiot even told me that whoever worked for him have to do everything, not just sticking to job description. It was super annoying, and when I refused to do some unrelated work, he kept gossiping behind my back about how I'm unproductive at my work. I fought back, but it was just a meaningless argument, so I got laid off lately for unrelated reasons as well. Complete disaster. Lol, fuck that noise. Good on you for getting the new job. He even told me I should be grateful for the opportunity. My job prior to my current one was an entry-level position for a small, family-owned company. The owner used to work on offshore oil rigs, so he was accustomed to working up to 30 days without any time off. He carried that approach to his company and expected it of his employees. He did this while paying barely over minimum wage, offering the absolute minimum of benefits. Salaried office people such as myself were expected to stay hours after closing time. Plant workers were expected to stay late without receiving on pay. I put up with that shit job for 21 months before I landed with my current company. After I left, I heard from former coworkers that the owner would constantly badmouth me, saying that I used him and his company as a stepping stone. Well, no fucking shit. Of course I'm going to use an entry-level job for a shit company as a stepping stone and resume builder. Just wait until you get a salaried job. I fully understand and recognize that salaried work is paid a lot more than hourly minimum wage, and that is a huge plus. But the sentiment about not giving as much effort as a manager or owner is just the same. In fact, it can be worse because that extra effort isn't paid with a salaried position. How about you come in and work the weekend to help the company? If you want me to work more hours, pay me for more hours. I'm not a flippin' charity. How about you take ownership over this project? But I don't have authority over resources or schedule, but I'm expected to get it done with the same effort as my boss. Yes, this post hit the nail on the head. We are glad to be working, but please don't make it to be more than that. People who wrap their entire identity around their job can't understand why you'd rather die than work 5 minutes of unpaid overtime. They don't have anything better to do. Totally agree with this. They don't have anything better to do, so they stick with staying late and passing that off as commitment to work. Your boss wants you to be dedicated, making minimum wage and getting no benefits. Pff, a shoal. I'd never expect an employee to be like that. And the lowest I've hired someone in 5 years was $42 a year, full medical, paid vacation, and 401k matching. Do you have profit sharing? I doubt it. What a jerk. He only gives vacation sick time if you were full-time employee. No 400 wonk or healthcare. The job was extremely stressful. And because I'm not getting the healthcare, I said I refuse to do full-time. That's what I did in exchange. Found out everyone in my office is part-time except one woman. Gee, I wonder why. Could be the lack of healthcare lol. I've been looking for a new job since. I will not work full-time for minimum wage and no healthcare 400 wonk. The irony is that I work in a medical office and they have no medical health care. It is definitely frustrating when pay and overall morale make the job even harder to take seriously. Your boss can't expect you to be eager to go the extra mile when it sounds like he is giving you no incentive to do so, not even fostering a good work environment where people are somewhat happy to do their jobs. I've had jobs that paid not much above minimum where you could get maybe a 30 to 40 cent raise max at your annual review, and in order to even get the highest raise you had to go above and beyond. It was impossible to get a perfect score on your performance review unless you pioneered a new process or service for the company and acted in a leadership capacity. Like, sure, I'm really likely to do that in the lowest position, making $11 per hour, just so I can get a B. I am really this is so I is Here's a good motto to go by for those low-paying jobs. Do as much work as the laziest person there. Trust me, the low-effort dudes are the ones who ride it out and become managers, and then tell everyone else to stop being lazy and work harder. I've maybe only had one boss who would jump in and get stuff done, the rest just walk around nitpicking all day or chatting with people for hours. Minimum pay is minimum effort to me. If the job doesn't pay me enough to do things out of work, then why would I care if I'm making them more money? I've been on both sides of this, so have a piece of advice that can take or leave. Usually in these kinds of situations, it's a good idea to get a better idea of what your job expectations actually are in terms of results as opposed to hours. Approached in the right way, you'll earn some very valuable experience and likely a ton of respect from your manager by being able to have a conversation about this with them. In a lot of cases, managers don't even know what the expectations are other than work lots of hours, so this type of exercise will help them do a better job of figuring out what their actual expectations and goals for your role are. This is called managing up. If you do this, try and bring it up constructively and see what happens. Hello, Mr. Manager. I've been getting a lot of mixed signals as to what's expected of me from my role here. I'd really like to excel and learn as much as possible, and it would be tremendously helpful if we can sit down and discuss what's expected of me in terms of results of my work to really kick butt here and beyond. Side note, there are a lot of companies you can work at where getting in at 9 doing good work and leaving at 5 is what the expectations are, and jobs are properly scoped to be able to achieve the required measurable results in that time frame. There are There are also a lot of companies that have well-scoped jobs that aren't even focused on hours and more on what needs to get done. These companies tend to be more established and not so focused on hypergrowth all the time. If you find yourself at a company that's the opposite side of the spectrum like this, which it kind of sounds like you are, recognize that it's unlikely to change, and the best you can do there is set your own boundaries, work hard and do a good job within your boundaries, and if that's not good enough for that company, then accept where the chips fall. I hope this helps and best of luck. I wanted to say the same to Up but couldn't have articulated this good. Lazy contribution 50. Any tips on writing as good as you? This is very good advice. I did this at a very toxic job because there was a chance the position could have been a once-in-a-lifetime thing. We had been tasked with many things not in our job description, some of which contradicted one another, repeatedly reprimanded for doing the things we were asked to do, which was very confusing, gaslighting, and there was a heavy expectation to go above and beyond. I thought this was a good idea, considering their answer was, and I quote, "Why are you confused? Insert lengthy explanations of what had happened again. We were actually still working on that 2 years, and we are having meetings. Stay tuned." So it didn't amount to much in my situation. I tried to back off and ride out the stress, but some other toxic people got my managers fired and took their place, and I was one of the first to get cut loose, but it is a fair and constructive thing to do and gives you some control of the situation. Gosh, typing this, I should have just booked it. But I admire anyone who tried to make the most of it. They try to act fairly towards their workers, but it's clear when they show blatant favoritism towards others. I was sick one time and I tried calling out, but my boss was all like, no, you need to go find your own replacement. And to you calling out all the time, I only call out when I'm freaking sick, mind you, which I have no control over, is becoming a burden to me and the team. I am legit, not making this up. But when someone else called out for a birthday party, apparently they got the okay for it. See what I mean by blatant favoritism? This and everything you explained in your post is the exact same reason why I'm quitting my job. Hey, Harry Cranber, 23 hours good. There's no reason to get in trouble for leaving because you were sick. My boyfriend works for PepsiCo and they have a no-fault policy. You literally just leave a voicemail saying you were not coming in for whatever reason it may be. You don't need to even state why, and that's it. They have a point system or something. And there's no specific manager you go to. Hope your next job is a million times better. No one needs to fight for their sick days when they were sick. That is messed up. 44. Reply, share, report, save, continue this thread. Manager who overdo it then want me to care like it until I reach your position or close to it. Money and security wise it. During my years of studying I had months of internship, which was basically a full-time job for free. Toward the end I mentioned once that I was getting tired of working for free. I nearly got fired on the spot, which would have ruined my graduation year. I had to apologize. It's like fuck. I was expected to be grateful and enjoy this basic labor 100 shelving products where I learned nothing and couldn't contribute as school expected me to. That's why people work harder in commission jobs. Makes sense. I get paid minimum wage. I had a set job they wanted me to do when I started, and now my boss gives me all this work I shouldn't be doing. I completely agree. I work in the hotel industry at the moment, and my hotel is pretty prestigious. My manager literally told us, "You don't like it? Holiday Inn is hiring around the corner." Other than that, my job expects us to learn all the other jobs. So I'm front desk, a bellhop, an agent to driving guests around. They train multiple people in each area, but we don't get paid more for doing the job of 4 people. I'm more than happy to stay just at front desk like I was hired to, but they eventually try to force you to branch out so that you are more valuable. Have you stay longer or grab these shifts. Like it is not my problem. You understaff on purpose, and I've literally worked 2 weeks in a row without a day off. Like, no, I would like to see my child and family. When I first started, my managers also gave me work only the managers would do because they themselves were overloaded and understaffed. I can't say no because then I look like a Dutch. You can't win in minimum wage jobs. Cherry Cranberries 7 one day ago. It is not exactly minimum wage, but it is only $1 or so over, so it's minimum wage to mean no benefits. Which is why I requested part-time instead of full-time. I figured if not getting benefits and not getting the money I want, I'm not gonna rush around stressing over patients and documents and yada yada for this. I'm gonna make sure I have an extra day off during the business week so I can set up interviews, etc. In New England, I would be paid $6-7 more for the same job, which pisses me off too. Reply share report save. It is entitlement at its core. A lot of bosses feel entitled to the full capacity of your time, energy, and enthusiasm. Former boss who was like that chiming in. I'm sorry, it took a long while for me to realize I expected more than what I was willing to pay. It's kind of weird because I was so focused on getting things done for the business, and it was so important to me that I just assumed it was just as important to my employees. I was stupid and self-absorbed. I was a very bad boss in that respect. At the time I thought I was an amazing boss when really I was great in some areas but horrible in others. That said, you should take action on things that you can control. You have the ability to find another job if this one doesn't suit you. You can try and communicate with your boss and hope that they change, but it's easier to find a functional workplace than it is to fix a dysfunctional boss. Started looking for new work once my toxic boss, who is exactly like how you describe yours, said, I know you were getting paid hourly here, but I can't have you lollygagging your shifts. I work a maintenance gig at a country club and clock out usually covered in suite. Even though I am on a managerial position, I am with you on this.
Like and subscribe for more Reddit content. Watch the next video at the top of your screen.